What's up, my homies? It's Edible Buckets, and today we'll be diving into each and every NBA playoff scenario. I'm honestly hyped as hell for this. How cool is it that so many teams will be affected by the final regular season day? And on top of that, all of the 1 p.m. games are Eastern Conference teams, while all of the 3:30 p.m. games are Western Conference teams. So we'll have the entire Eastern playoff picture set before any West activity begins. How epic is that, Dan?
Who's Dan?
I don't know, let's friggin' do it. So we're going to get the most confusing part of the whole playoff scenario out of the way first, and that is the fight to get out of the play-in in the Eastern Conference, where the Pacers, Sixers, and Magic all find themselves tied with 1 game remaining. The Magic own the 3-way tiebreak because they are winning their division. If all 3 teams win on Sunday, nothing changes between the 3. If all 3 teams lose on Sunday, it opens the door for the Heat to jump all the way from 8th to 5th with a home win versus Toronto, who they just beat at home. If the Heat lose that game, they are guaranteed 8th seed. If the Magic win, Sixers win, and Pacers lose, the Pacers would find themselves in the 7th seed hosting Miami. And the Sixers would be ahead of the Magic at 5 because they have the head-to-head tiebreak over Orlando. If the Sixers win, Pacers win, and Orlando loses, the Pacers would jump to 5 and the Sixers would be at 6 because Indiana has a tiebreak over Philly. In this scenario, the Magic would host the play-in as the 7th seed versus Miami. So, basically, whoever loses between the 3 is in jeopardy of falling to the play-in at 7. A win and you're guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, unless you are the Sixers, who would be the 7 if the other 2 teams win. So to put it rather simply, the Magic have the tiebreak if all 3 teams win or lose. But they do not have the tiebreak over Philly if it's a 2-team tiebreak. Luckily for Orlando, their mission is simple. Win over Milwaukee and you avoid the play-in. You can't say the same for the Heat, who need some help. And it all starts with Orlando losing. The Heat can claim the 7th seed with a win and a Magic loss. Simple. The Heat can jump to the 6th seed if they win, Magic lose, and Pacers lose. Or if they win, Magic lose, and Sixers lose. So for the Heat, Sixers, and Pacers, it all starts with a win and a Magic loss. The Magic control their destiny. So there actually are 2 scenarios where if the Heat and Magic both win, the Heat could still be hosting a play-in game at 7. That is if Heat and Magic win, and Pacers and Sixers both lose. Or Heat and Magic win, and Pacers win, and Sixers lose. In both of these 2 scenarios, we would be hosting Philadelphia. Really quick, before we move on to the West, if the Knicks beat the Bulls, and the Bucks lose to Orlando, the Knicks get the 2 seed, and Milwaukee falls to 3. If the Bucks win or Knicks lose, Milwaukee secures 2 seed. Cleveland has already locked up the 4 seed with their win over Indiana. Since the Knicks own the tiebreak over the Cavs, the worst they can be is the 3 seed. Okay, now it's time for the Wild West, where the Kings and Warriors are tied, but since the Kings hold the tiebreak over them, they are at 9 currently and the Warriors are at 10. Meaning, the Warriors need to win and the Kings need to lose for the Warriors to at least secure the 9 seed. The worst case scenario for the Warriors is they'll have to travel for a sudden death play-in game, which is pretty likely since the Kings play the Blazers on Sunday. Okay, so that's easy enough. Now, if the Warriors win, Lakers lose, and Kings win, the Lakers would fall back to the 10 seed because the Warriors have a tiebreak over the Lakers. And the Kings would jump to 8th because they also have a tiebreak over the Lakers. Meaning, the 9-10 play-in matchup in that scenario would be LeBron versus Curry in Golden State. Insane. Okay, if the Lakers simply win in New Orleans on Sunday, they secure the 8th seed. If the Suns manage to win in Minnesota and the Lakers defeat New Orleans, the Suns would squeak out of the play-in and into the 6th spot due to their tiebreaker over New Orleans. The worst case scenario for the Suns is they stay at the 7th seed and host the play-in. If the Pelicans beat the Lakers, they secure seed 6. Or if the Suns lose to Minnesota. So the Pelicans are in a pretty solid spot to avoid the play-in, especially since the Timberwolves should be trying to win their final game in an attempt to secure the 1st seed. Now, speaking of the 1 seed, we have a 3-way tie between the OKC Thunder, Timberwolves, and the Denver Nuggets, which is also insane. Man, this might go down as one of the wildest endings to a regular season we've ever seen. Anyway, back to it. The current 1 seed, the Thunder, play the Mavericks, who will probably be resting their starters because they're already set to play the Clippers in the 4-5 matchup. So, first and foremost, if the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves all win, the Thunder will claim the 1st seed. This is because they are 5-3 against the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. That qualifies them for the 3-team tiebreak. If this 3-way tie does happen after Sunday, the Timberwolves would be granted the 2 seed over Denver because of their better division record. And here's where it gets pretty complicated. If Minnesota wins and OKC wins, but the Nuggets lose, the Timberwolves would be the number 1 seed. Interestingly, the Thunder and Timberwolves split their season series, so their tiebreak goes to division record, which is 12-4 for both teams. So now we have to check conference record, which Minnesota wins by a whopping 1 game. Absurd. If the Timberwolves win, Nuggets win, and OKC loses, we look at head-to-head between Denver and Minnesota, which is 2-2. So once again, we look at division record, which goes to Minnesota. So in this scenario, Minnesota would be number 1, and Denver would be number 2. If the Nuggets win, Thunder win, and Timberwolves lose, the Thunder would take the 1 over Denver because they beat them 3 of 4 times this year. So, for Denver, the only scenario where they can find the 1 seed is if they win, and Minnesota and Oklahoma City both lose. There's no other way that they can find the 1 seed. And if Minnesota and Oklahoma City are tied, Minnesota would take the tiebreaker. But if all 3 teams win, or if all 3 teams lose, the Thunder would take the 1 seed. Okay, we got through most of it, I think. I may have missed a couple scenarios. Please let me know any scenarios that I may have missed. I'm sure I did. There's a bunch. I tried my best. I wanted to get this video out as soon as I could. It's late at night, Saturday night. I gotta get it out there. For a couple of the play-in games, I will definitely be doing some live commentary on YouTube. And well, I hope you all stay hyped. Peace. Heat fans out there, we definitely want Philly to lose, I think. Good Lord, there's a million scenarios. I don't know. Go Heat and Magic lose, I guess. I don't know. It's going to be a scramble, bro. Scrambling, bambling.
Ain't nobody balling like me, really. Swishy, nippity, nip.